Good evening. On behalf of IIP Technical Team, I, Dr. Uttara Mohan, welcome you to this webinar on SCI. This is the third day of the webinar. Today's topic is environmental modification and mobility. Uh, we are streaming live on YouTube. Kindly subscribe to IIP India YouTube and Facebook pages to get regular updates. Today's webinar is being organized by IIP Maharashtra State. The moderators for today's webinar are Dr. Snehal Patel and Dr. Nirali Sanghavi and myself, Dr. Uttara Mohan. Now I kindly request Dr. Nirali to please take over.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome to day 3 of our webinar series. We have Dr. Ashok Trivedi today, who is here to enrich and empower our knowledge on the topic of environmental modifications and mobility in SCI. I would like to briefly introduce Dr. Ashok Trivedi. He's done his bachelor's in physiotherapy and then post-graduation diploma in hospital and healthcare management, post-graduation diploma in psychological counseling. He is also a yoga certified trainer. Dr. Ashok Trivedi sir has experience of 11 years as a clinical physiotherapist and is presently working at Jaya Rehab Institute and Research Center, Kutch, Gujarat. He has presented papers at national and international conference on SCI. Without any further ado, I would request Sir to please take over the session. Welcome, Sir.
Thank you so much. I am very much thankful to the IIP Women Cells as well to giving me this opportunity. Today I am going to present the environmental modifications and mobility in spinal cord injury. Myself, Ashok Trivedi, already Dr. Nirali has introduced me very nicely. And if, for this work, I am very much thankful to the Sri Bidra Sarodaya Trust as well as the Jaya Rehabilitations Director, Mr. Mukesh Doshi, admin, Dr. Lognathan, as well as my team who has supported me in this work. So, why we need some environmental modifications and mobility in spinal cord injury? As we all are aware about the WHO definitions, that if anything has been wrong happened with the organ or tissues, it will be created into the impairment. If this impairment will affect the persons, whole persons, then it will be converted into a disability. And if this disability will restrict patients any role in the society, then we are calling it as a handicap. Then we are calling a patient is physically disabled, mentally disabled, emotionally disabled, physically disabled, mentally disabled, emotionally disabled, physically disabled, mentally disabled, emotionally disabled, physically disabled. All the abilities with help of modifications, some assisted devices, some assisted device technology, then we can improve the patients and nobody will call them that they are the means handicapped in the society. So, what are the health conditions? If impairment will restrict the activity. This activity will restrict the participations. But on this activity, the environmental factors as well as personal factors will affect the activity of the persons. Some examples are there. If I am a SCI patient, I am a L1 SCI patient is there. I want to climb a stairs. So what are the activities is there? I want to climb a stairs. And why I want to climb a stairs? To go for my clinics or I want to see the cinema. So what are the personal factors which affect me? My movements is not there. The environmental factors, if step height means height is less, step height is more. So I'm not aware about that things. So these all factors will restrict the patient's activity, and ultimately these restrictions of activity will restrict the patient's participations in the society. So before going into the depth of the which kind of environmental modification is needed and how we can go for the mobility of the patients, I think we should have the idea about it. What is the level of the patients? What the patient's abilities are there? And what are the functional goals? So if you are going for the C1 to C3, they have a limited movement of head and neck. They might have a difficult, means our functional goals is limited with the breathing, means they need a ventilatory or implants, communications, because they have a talking difficulties, very limited are there, or the impossible, some patients have it. The daily task, which needs assistive technology for independence and mobility, can operate electrical wheelchair with head, mouth or chin, which is very well explained yesterday by Dr. Uttara. C4. If C4 is there, patient has usually little bit head and neck controls are there. They can also shrug their shoulders as well. But breathing is affected little bit. They sometimes needs a ventilator or for breathings and communications. They have a weaker voice projection sometimes, and daily tasks always limited. So we need a specialized equipment for that things as well. If you're going for the C5, you can see that if C1 to C4 is that patient has a difficulty in the breathing and communications. And then after below C5, our task is mainly come for the daily tasks and mobility. Daily task, it can be the activities of daily living or some household works, some vocational training, some occupations, and mobility. Of course, we want to move from one place to the another. C5 patient, I think C5, C6, C7, it's already very well explained by the Dr. Snehal Patel in earlier, which muscles are partially innervated, which muscles are innervated are there. So with use of these all muscles, we can go further and we have to go for the some specialized equipment for C5 patients so they can get a independence in daily activities. They also needs a power wheelchair with hand control. Driving may be possible if some modifications are there. If C6 are the again daily tasks, we can go for some specialized equipments for the feeding, bathing, grooming, personal hygiene, and mobility. They can use a manual and power wheelchair because they can shrug their shoulders, they can bend their elbows, they can turn palms, and they have also the limited extensions of the wrist. If C7 injuries are there, then patient has a means able to perform household duties, needs a fewer assistance. So this kind of persons is not needed too much assistance related with it, but they also need some mobile use of manual wheelchairs and they can transfer with a greater ease. C8T1 already they have a good independent in their daily task, but obvious mobility is use of manual wheelchair. See, after a C7 injuries, patients are dependent on the manual wheelchair. Sometimes somebody is saying that means patient is wheelchair bound, wheelchair is nothing, but they will drive and they can do one. No, it is not so easy. Wheelchair again needs a skills. Wheelchair again needs a some performance. Without practices, they can't be a masters. That's why the wheelchair skills should be taught by the physiotherapist. T2 to T6, they have a good upper extremity controls. Their daily task is totally independent, but yes, of course, mobility is limited and walking with an extensive braces. Here, the role of braces is coming for the walking. So we also need support from the prosthetic and orthotics in our professions. And as well as already what I have explained earlier for the cervical injuries, we need the support of occupational therapists, which can guide us. We know these something ideas are there, but they can also do the better with our things. So with a multidisciplinary approach, we can do better for our patients. When T7 to T12, obvious they have a motor functions, increased abdominal control, they can perform unsupported sittings, they have a good mobility as well. Okay, C1 to say L1, L5 is there. So they have an additional return of motor movements in hips and knees. So they have a walking very nicely, but some specialized legs or ankle braces is needed for them. And if you're going to C1 to C5, almost they are independent in all activities, but again they need fewer or some support devices. So these are the abilities, and related with these abilities we have to plan the patient's functional goals. What are the abilities patients have and how we can achieve these functional goals? If we are able to achieve these functional goals, we can make the patient independent and we can encourage the patients, they will participate in their societies. So, as per the idea, what is rehabilitations? I think rehabilitations, yes, we are saying that we are going according to diagnosis, but diagnosis is not mandatory in these things, because as I means professionals, we are mainly dealing with the functional problems. We have to first look at the what are the functional goals patients has. It can be achieved in this patient, and why patient is not able to achieve it. What are the restricting points are there? We have to find out that, and we have to try to rectify it. As I said that the spinal cord injury care involves much more things than treating just a medical and physiological consequences of any injuries. Comprehensive rehabilitation services must include a high specialized interdisciplinary approaches needed, which will include everybody in a medical, physiological, functional, psychological, as well as the social issues, because these peoples also have some psychological issues are there. So all interdisciplinary members must recognize the unique needs of these populations and implement the interventions to maximize the patient's outcome. And then only we can give us best to this patient. So this is the one of the example I want to just share with you. I think everyone is aware about the 2001 Kutch earthquake. In that, so many person has got an injury, so many has lose their limbs as well. And if I will give you the number, total 104 has become a paraplegic at that time. So after a 21 years, 20 years, still date, more than 60 patients are alive. They are alive because of good multidisciplinary approaches. Whenever they have a problem, the multidisciplinary teams is ready for them. Means surgeons are coming. If they have a bad sore, the bad sore is going for the surgeries. If they need some supportive devices, we can give them a supportive devices. If they need some pressure relieving devices, we can also give them. And also the caretaker training has been given to these SCI patients, which is also important for us as well, because sometimes we are only focusing on the patient. Yes, we have to treat the patient, we have to treat the patient, but patient will spend only 45 minutes or 1 hour with us. The resting time they are spending with the caretakers. So caretaker training is also important for the patients. And I'm very means thankful, and I'm also feeling myself very grateful because I'm a part of Sri Bidra Savada Trust, and who is till date serving these earthquake victims free of cost all multidisciplinary treatments. So what is the rehabilitation's needs? So stabilization of physiological systems, accomplishment of ADLs, adjustment to living at homes, community increase and self-actualizations. Yes, unless patient is not accepting their disabilities and they will not try to overcome their disabilities, we will not get any success. So as I already mentioned that we have to go for the functional goals of the patients, but which is restricting these functional goals? What are the problems are there which patients are facing? Simple examples are there. The C7 fracture patient has came to us and he is asking that, sir, I'm not able to turn myself. So if we will go for the functional goals, C7 fractures are there, they can be independent in their bed mobilities. And why this patient is not able to do the bed mobilities? Means why? Where? Means patient is saying that I am not able to go for the bed mobility. Is bed is perfect for that patient? The bed is good for the patient. If patient is turned in that bed, it is not so hard. It is might be too soft. If patient is trying to turn himself on a water bed, patient is trying to turn himself on a our bed. And if some patients needs the assistance, who is giving patients the assistance? Which kind of patients needs the assistance? If patient is when patient is facing a problem, so many patients telling me that, sir, I'm quite fine with the all ADLs in the after time, but in a morning I'm finding difficulties. Some patients saying that I'm finding difficulty to get up from the bed in the morning. I'm not able to turn myself in the morning. So some night stiffness is there. That might be the reason for that. I'm not sure about that. But we have to ask when, what is creating a problem, and how we can solve that problems. With that, we can give best to our patient. So as we are saying that the mobility is an important aspect of spinal cord injury. The ability to move lets you participate more fully in community life, do the things we would like to do. Means that's we have to tell to our patients. If you want to participate in this society, you have to move. You have to move from here to there. Okay, it doesn't mean that how you are moving, but you have to move. You are moving with a wheelchair, you are moving with a crutches, you are moving with a braces. It's okay, but you have to think that you have to move independently. You do not need any patient's support. We are not here to make a patient dependent on others. We want to make patient independent on themselves. So mainly the mobility is affected in spinal cord injuries. And in SCA, we can define the mobility in terms of bed mobility. Patient wants to go for the bed mobility, then household mobility, indoor mobilities, how patient is moving in his house, the outdoor mobilities, and sometimes instrumental mobilities. Instrumental mobilities means how patient is going to drive a car, how patient is using some high-tech mobility devices, that is power wheelchair or electrical wheelchair. So how they have to means learn the to manage with the instruments. So when we are going for such kind of things, okay, some questions that you have to ask to the patients, to our patients, if we have a doubt related with the bed mobilities, we have to ask them, can you turn on your front? Can you turn on back? Sides without assistance? Okay. Okay. Can you lift your hips? Of the bed when supine? Can you need the assistant to sit or line? Do you have any difficulty in maintaining sitting positions? Can you operate the bed controls on electrical hospital bed? We can ask these questions. If you're asking that questions, and then we have to try to rectify that. If patient needs assistance, which kind of assistance is needed? Sometimes it's happening that patient is not able to turn very nicely from the front or from the back. But if we are giving some support to the patients at a mid range, might be possibilities are the patient can turn himself from the mid sideline to the sideline. So we can give them a position of mid sideline. So ultimately, slowly, they will learn it. But how we can go for that things with that questions? Some transfers, when you have questions about the transfers, we can ask the patients, can you move between the bed? Can you move in the toilet? Can you move in the bath? Shower chair, standard seatings, car seats, wheelchair without self. Means where the patient has a difficulty. Sometimes patient is coming to, sir, I have a difficulty in the transfers. Transfers means if sometimes happening, we are going for the transfers in the our mat activities. We will just, if we are just teaching them a mat activities transfer, it will not help to the patients, because if that environment is fixed, patient is able to transfer himself from bed in a mat from one end to another. But when patient wants to transfer himself in a toilet or bath or shower chest, the environment is different. Sometimes one is stable, one is moving objects are there. So we have to also keep in mind that things. Can you get out of the bed without difficulty? That question should be asked to the patients. We also have to ask the patients assistance, that patient needs to stand from a lower high seat. And we have to also ask the patient, can you get on off for the toilet without help? So these kind of transfer questions can be asked to the patient. For wheelchair mobility, we have to ask the patients, do you propel a wheelchair? Do you means already Dr. Utra has mentioned that, means how the locks are there, how the brakes are there, how the wheelchairs are there. Ultimately, so many varieties of wheelchairs are available in the market. But if patient is able to utilize it, we will prescribe the patients. Patient will come with a wheelchair, they will try to it. But it's again our duties are that we have to encourage them, they will use it at every places. Because till date some patients are there, they will feeling aside, I am on wheelchair, with wheelchair how I can go for the community. But it is sometimes means encouragement, the psychological support is also needed for such kind of patients. But we have to also ask the patient why they don't want to go in the society, what difficulties they're finding with the wheelchair mobilities. We can also ask them, do you need assistance to cross high pile carpets or rough grounds? How far and many times you are going for the wheelchair before you need a rest? Can you independently move about your living room, bedroom or kitchen? Because sometimes even in a house also something is restricting to the patients. Patient is not able to means move freely in a living room due to some obstructions, or the space is not there to turn the wheelchair. This can also create a problems for the patients. And you can also ask, are you going for the shoppings, restaurants or friends home? For ambulations, we can ask the patients, do you walk unaided? Do you use the cane, crutches, walker, or you can walk without any assistance? How far, how minutes you are able to walk? Sometimes some patients are like, yes, I am walking. Yes, I am walking. But if you are asking them, how much you are walking? Sir, that's I haven't measured it. So how did we can judge the progression of the patients, and how we can tell the patient, no, yesterday you have walked for a 10 meters, now today you have walked for a 11 meters, yesterday you have walked for the 1 minute, now today you are able to walk for a 1.5 minutes. So this can also give them a means good feedbacks as well. Which we can also ask, which is stop you from getting further. We can ask the patient, do you need, means sometimes patient is not going for the independent walking due to the feeling unsteadiness, or patient is finding that I might going to a fall. So we have to again ask these questions. Can you go upstairs, downstairs, unassisted? And if patient is saying that no, I'm not able to do it, why? What is restricted? Is the stairs has a bar or not? If stairs is has a proper height or not? That we have to examine. And we can again, for the wheelchair mobility as well as the ambulances, we can ask that, do you go for the shopping? Do you go for the restaurant? Do you go for your friends home? Why these all things are important? Because our ultimate role is there. We have to make the patient independent in their community. And if patient is going for shopping, patient is going for the restaurant, patient going for the friends home, patient is going for the occupations, then they are be participating in all community activities. And we can also ask that can you use a public transportations without help? uh, Before 2 years, when we have means discussed with our district data, we have found that already government has given us some reserves, some reservations for the person with disability for in jobs as well. But when somebody has asked the questions why the persons are not recruited, the question answers has been given in that day. The person is selected, but when the person is selected, person is saying that this place is far away from my home. I can't travel too much, and I'm not able to travel by train. I'm not able to transfer myself in a bus. I'm not able to get into the rickshaw. I do not have my personal vehicle. So, and I'm not able to use a public transportations. So this question is also make an important things. So again, whenever we are going for a patient has his own car. So his patient is able to operate their motor vehicle or not. Patient has a valid driver license, because the person with disability have a different license than the normal guys. Patient has his own car or somebody is going for by a hired car or not. Patient is able to drive the car or not. Patient is able to drive the car for a heavy traffic or long distance or not. Patient is able to use the hand controls or other motor automobile functions are there. Modification is needed. Have you experienced any motor vehicle accidents? That also we have to ask, because these patients are, they have met with an accidents and they have come with a spinal cord injury. So if they have experience with that when they are using a motor vehicles, well, might be it be a modified or not modified, then we have to also ask them. So ultimately, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So self-care means here we can't, means some modifications has been done for the patients. So if you see that patient is not able to sit, so some back support has been given to the patients. Patient needs some assistance for the typing. So we have given some cocoa splints so patient can means go for a typing as well. Here patient needs to go for brushing. So adaptation has been given for the brushings as well as feeding and also the mobile operating. So sometimes we can make this kind of adjustment, some modifications for the patient, so patient can do themselves better. So wheelchair, what kind of adjustments we want to go for a wheelchair. So here, if you will see that he is a case of he is a case of D11 fracture. So ultimately, if we are going for the functional goals, then we are saying that patient is a manual wheelchair operator and patient can go for a manual wheelchair. But he has also met within some accidents which has injured his hand. So some associated injuries also restricting the patient's conditions. So by keeping that things, we have to go for the modifications. So as he has gone for the injuries, his radial bone has been removed. So he is not able to transfer his weight. Again, he is not he has a some problem in a index finger as well as the middle fingers. So the out trigger has been given, as wrist extension is not a, he has given a cocker splint, and with this all modifications he is able to drive a manual wheelchair. You can see that the how he is using it. Some power he has it, some muscles are working, and some he is using with the assistance of the orthosis, and he can become a independent. Earlier when he came to us, his mom is continuously pushing his wheelchair, and ultimately she has to be with her. But as he is independent to drive a wheelchair, a manual wheelchair, he is independent. So your simple modifications can change the life of the patients. And our important part is also there with the gate training for the L1 and other features. So whenever we are going for the before going for the gate training now, we have to also go for a means pre-gate training. In pre-gate training, first and important thing is that each patient is able to stand without help. If patient needs the assistance, then we can give them assistance. If patient needs some modifications at the height, we can go for the height shifting as well. Once patient is able to means lift himself, means able to come in a standing, we can ask the patients they are able to shift the weight or not. So enter a posterior weight shiftings patient is able to do or not. Then we have to train the patients for the side weight shifting. So ultimately we can get an idea that if patient is able to shift weight properly, and then we can progress further for these patients. And once patient has learned in it, we can ask the patients they can get up from the bed, and they will try to lift their leg by transferring weight on the another things. And once patient is completing all these cycle, then we can put patients for the some distance walking. So what's happened with these devices? So we can start with sometimes a full ankle knee foot orthosis. Patient might be starting with a walking with a A4. If patient is quite fine, it we can go for the lower orthosis in the form of GRO. So we can decrease the assistance once patient has developed some advantage. If patient is very fine with a walker, we can progress further for patients walking with a bilateral crutches. And sometimes it's our aim is there when sometimes some therapists are saying in that way, once patient is able to walk on a walker, now patient is able to walk on a bilateral elbow crutch, now I want to progress for the second, that is a single crutch. But again, if you will find this now, sorry, in a single crutch na, she needs the assistance of her father. So it is again make her the dependent. So rather than going for these things, means going for a single crutch, then we can go for the bilateral crutch, which is making her the functional independent. Though she is using bilateral, it's okay, but she is independent, she can walk on herself. So these also things can matter. This is another example. This is a patient of paraplegia. So initially when he came to us, he is using a KFO, one side KFO, one side AFO, because he has a good power of this knee, and he is using a single cane. Then he has been progressed further for the one limb is normal and one AFO has been given to the patient, and he is walking with a single cane. Then he has been progressed further. That patient has started walking with a dynamic AFO and without stick, and ultimately patient has achieved his limb. So he is a case of paraplegia, but slowly, if you want to progress the patient, then in this way we can progress ahead. So I'm saying you this again, some modification adjustment has been done by the patient. So what I'm telling right now about the adjustment. So this is a patient of C7 fracture, and is a case of quadriplegia. But if you will see that he is able to climb a stairs as well as he can descend the stairs as he has a good control of upper extremity. He has also adjusted himself that he is not able to walk with the orthosis and crutches, but he can crawl himself. So he has developed himself. He has gone for some modifications so the knee is not injured in his house, and he can move himself very easily from one place to the another place. He can go directly with her on a bed. And surprisingly, he has also gone for some modifications in a car. He is driving car by himself. So, and he is not driving only car for 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers. He is driving a car 50 kilometers, sometimes 100 kilometers. And when he is driving a car, one example he has told to me, he has gone into the means in a city, and somebody, some traffic police has haven't seen the number plate of this car, and he has asked him, come out and show me your driving license. He said, I can't come outside. So he said, why you are not able to come outside? He said, sir, I can't come outside. No, you have to come outside. Then he has the traffic police came to him and said that, sir, I am using a modified car. And then he see the number plate and she said, no. It's quite surprisingly. So some places not needed that we are not able to mobilize themselves. We can mobilize themselves, but patient has to go for some adjustment and some modifications are needed for this. And some vocational trainings. Why vocational trainings is again adjustment. Patient, earlier patient is labor, patient is going for the construction work, some field work is there, but now might be patient is not able to do that work. So again patient has to go for this adjustment. He has to try something else which he can do very nicely. This is a patient of C5 fracture, the Bhaskar Chande, who is trying to means repair some computer works with the use of hardware with some one person assistance. Is a case of D4 fracture. So he's going for the weldings as well by taking all precautions. Is a D12 fractures. They are going for some card makings. She is again a quadriplegic patient. She is going for some means card makings as well. Some paintings are there. So this kind of work are there which patient can do very nicely. Whatever I had told you earlier, the public utility services. So we have to train the patients. They can transfer themselves in a train. We have this department in our center as well. So we are giving them a training in our centers. Once they are doing it, we are telling them do it repeatedly, do it repeatedly. So they will practice and they will become a master. When we are noting down the timing of the patients, how much time they will need initially, and after sometimes after a 1 month or 15 days how much time they need. Once they are practicing, they will reducing the timing and they will become a more and more faster, and we can train them for the public utility services in a train, car, bus, or all such kind of things. So as I told you, how the modifications we can go for that things. So modifications, the doors. First, it will come to get inside. If doors are there, it will be easily opened, and the enough space are there behind the door so that patient can move his or her wheelchair easily. So if there is a slopes are there, the ideal slope is that there is a 1:1 ratio is there. For 1 inch raise, we have to give a 1 foot length. But sometimes if it is not ideal for us to make a such slope, we can go for such kind of ridges over there. So these ridges, whenever patient is coming down now, these ridges will give the frictions to the patients and it will decreases the patient's speed. If such a big slopes are there, patient needs some rest areas. So patient might be not able, if they are resting over here, they will the another patients or some guys will be stuck to it. So patient needs a resting area over there. So after climbing some distance, they can rest themselves as well. After going some another place, they can go for another rest. And whenever there is a turnings are there, there should be enough space are there that patient can turn themselves easily, and it will not hurt patients by any cost. So how the drawing rooms, or we can say some furnitures are there, and sometimes when patient is working in their offices, so the furnitures are like that, the nothing is beneath the table, so there the wheelchair can go easily inside and it will not compress the patient's thigh, so it will prevent the patients from the bed sores as well. Again, when we are going for the cupboards, the cupboard height should be equal that patient can use it easily, and it might be differ from patient to patient. It not side like them is ideal formulas are there 3 feet or 2.5 feet, then we can go for the ideal thing which is suitable for. Might be it's different from the patient to patient. Sometimes it is also depends on the wheelchair, which kind of wheelchair patient is using. Patient is using some back means seat or not. The seat width and seat height is also matters. So if you are going for the bedroom, so bed height and the wheelchair height should be equal so that patient can transfer themselves easily. Again, when your patient is going for the transfer, patient needs enough space over here so that they can turn their wheelchair very nicely. And when your patient is going for the transfer, we need also needs a space so that the patient can put their wheelchair by side. So whenever they need the wheelchair again, they can take it back. So you can say that she can move easily, and once she has do it, okay, she has to fold her wheelchair. And then she is easily keeping it by the sides. Again, in some cases, if patients do not have a good control, we can go for the sidebars for the patient. So again, once patient is shifted, patient can take the sidebars up, and patient can then put a wheelchairs by the side. Then in a kitchen, so easy space, again the space is needed so that patient can reach up to it. So there is nothing beneath the if you are seeing that there is nothing beneath the platform so that the wheelchair can go inside, and the platform height is enough that it will not injure or not give any pressures to the thighs. Again, if you are going for the knobs, if patient is not able to reach the knobs, it should be a lengthened one. We can go for a bar so that patient can open it and patient can again close it and use it easily. Whenever we are talking about the means utensils, what is the height of utensils? So it should be equal that the patient can use their hands and they can take it very nicely. If sometimes patient is not able to do it easily, then we can give them some richer devices so they can do it very nicely. And again, here also we have to take care that there something, some sharp objects are not there which can injure their thighs and other parts. Sometimes again guest stove, sometimes if a patient needs a good height, then we can use a stands, otherwise the normal guest stoves can be used. So washrooms, easily sliding door is needed so that patients can go inside, and once patient can go inside, patient can turn himself and patient can do his work. The easily reachable light switches, enough space are there that patient can transfer himself, patient can sit here, patient can take a bath. Once it is there, some spaces are needed there where the patient can change their clothes. Some grab bars is also needed for that patient, so can when your patient needs any assistance, patient can hold the grab bars and patient can use it. So these are some transfer technique which is given to the patients, how that patient can initially they have trained them. So initially it will take much time. And once they have learned it, they can do it very nicely. These are the rickshaw transfers. So it sometimes it is again matter. At some places, patient has to place his legs first, and then he can transfer himself. At sometimes if he's going for his leg first, then he might not able to transfer himself. Sometimes the spasticity will also restrict them. So by keeping all these things, we have to train the patient. Sorry, there's some technical problems are there. Same way patient has to, we can tell the patients that how they can transfer themselves in a rickshaw and car utility as well. And sometimes also patient needs a high-tech mobility devices, means some patients are there, they need some means electrical wheelchair, electrical powered wheelchair. So we can train the patients on a power wheelchairs, how the patient can use it once with the hands. And sometimes if you are going for the quadriplegic patient, they are not able to go for the same grasp what we have, but some modified grasp they can use it, or sometimes they can operate very nicely with their hypothinar, or sometimes with their thinars. So we can tell them how they can offer their joysticks very nicely. With the joystick they can move here and there. Some standing wheelchairs are there, so with that wheelchair we have to just ask the patient, some buttons are there, they have to press one button, that button will give them a position, they can go up, they can be upright. And some positions are they will stand themselves by without any assistance with the use of standing wheelchairs. So these all things are there which can give patients the independence very nicely. And some car modifications are there, which is the technical problems are there. The slide is not working. I can show you in another way, sorry.
वाईफाई कनेक्शन स्टार्ट करें.
Sorry, some technical issues are there which is creating a problem. So with that modifications, we can patients can become independent in their life. I'm trying to say that we can get it. So here our patient is transferring himself in a rickshaw and car. In same way, see how the patient can, we have to train them how they can operate a joysticks, and we have to also So once student can go outside, we have to tell them they have to stop. They can again they can come down again. They will stop. So this kind of training is also needed for the patients, as well as some standing wheelchairs are there where we have to teach the patients about the programming. Some programmings are there which is just deal with the speeds. So patient can go upstairs. See, this is a standing wheelchair. So they have set up a program, and once they are pressing a stick, it can give them a totally upright postures without any help. So we can solve the patient's problem that we can stand upright, and we can prevent so many other complications as well. Again, this is a standing power wheelchair only. This can again give the patient the full lying positions. So patient can just press the buttons and patient can go in a lying positions. So whenever patient is finding some giddiness or some postural hypotension, mainly the cervical patients has a such kind of problem, so they can go little bit of incline and they can take a rest. So it will help the patients in both way, the standing as well as the incline. And as I told you about the modification, so if you are going for this thing, he has a clutch and brake. He has taken into the hand, so he is going for that car and clutch and brakes, and he is using a accelerator. He is keeping in the form of bike rather than in a hands. He is just using his bike accelerator, and he is going for that things. So this is enough for the day. Thank you very much. Sorry for some technical issues.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation and showing the videos of patients for better understanding. We have some questions from the audience. The first question is how you can improve the cardiovascular endurance in spinal cord injury patients.
For a cardiorespiratory endurance, we have a means in our in our rehab center, we have a cardiopulmonary rehabilitation center is there, means cardiopulmonary department is there. So before patient is coming to us, we are sending the patients for the cardiopulmonary. In that, we are giving them some aerobic exercises, some breathing exercises, and slowly we are increasing their workouts. So initially means we can go for simple work. Patient is going for these things, this much rest is needed. And next time is whatever protocols has been found for the cardiorespiratory rehab, we are following that and we are trying to improve the patient's cardiorespiratory endurance.
For gait training and spinal cord injury, which kind of splint will be more effective, a static splint or a dynamic splint?
It depends on patient's conditions. It's sometimes a static is also important, dynamic is also important, but it's vary from patient to patients. As we are going for the leveling, if some patient has a means injury at the level of L23, means L23 is almost it we can call it as a lower motor neuron. So many recoveries are possible. Now renervation is possible. If in such kind of conditions we are going for the dynamic splint, then it is more useful because we can also use some muscles power whatever patient has it. But if it is level is high, means T12 is there or the high level injuries are there, then static splint is more better than the dynamic one.
What methods can be used for proprioceptive training in spinal cord injury?
Can you repeat it?
For proprioceptive training, and if you have a quadriplegic in upper limb, how kind of training you can do?
For this kind of patients, we are going for the tilt table standing. First of all, it will help in proprioception approximation hypotension. And already, I think proprioceptive so many things has been explained by the means Dr. Snehal Patel very nicely in med programs. So with a different positioning, we can go for the proprioceptions, and with help of assisted devices and some braces, we can make up patients and we can give them some proprioceptions. Means elbow braces are the elbow straight, means elbow push-up splints are there, knee push-up splints are there, which can help a lot to such kind of patients.
For quadriplegics, for their upper limb mobility, what all task training can be done for them as a functional
Uh,
training?
it- Functional training, again, it depends on the patient to patient, because if a patient is coming with a C5 or C6 level injuries, okay, we are more focusing, which will encourage the patient's activity with elbow flexion and extensions. Passing balls are there, some throwing balls are there. We can again give some manual wheelchair exercises. Sometimes we are encouraging some sports activities in such kind of patients. If patient has a C6 or C7 injuries are there, C8 injuries are there, we can go for the transfers. We transfer some activities we can include in it. They have to just roll the ball from here to there. Some activities are there. They have to go for the means ADL's activity. Some reaching activities are there, which can be helpful for their functional mobilities. And mainly, rather than these things, we are mainly encouraging the patients. You will try to do your activities by yourself. If you need some assistance, ask your caretaker. They will give you the assistance, but try to use as little as assistance, which will make you more independent, and try to use your mobility in your ADLs. Rather than means you are doing exercises, okay, sometimes it's happening with the patients, they are doing exercise very nicely with us, but they are able to means, if you are telling them you have to take a towel and try to means put it at your face, cheeks, put it at your mouth, they will use it very nicely. But if you will ask them, whenever you have to means wipe out your mouth, what you are doing, he or she said, my caretaker is helping me. So rather than these things will be more helpful for the patients doing on themselves.
What are the environmental barriers faced by spinal cord injury patients, and what suggestions can you give for any modifications, especially for yeah.
Environmental barriers, mainly in if village people are there, so many khaddas and all such kind of things are there, some bumps are there, which is not good for the patients. So means some higher bumps are there, means lower bumps are there, patient can easily means overcome it with wheelies and all such kind of things. So if equal height is there, where patient want to transfer some cells, the good examples we have, it's a Delhi Metro. So where the platform height and train height is quite equal. So when your patient wants to means, if the flat surfaces are there, so patient can go easily with it, and patient can use a wheelchair. If some wheelchairs are there, the wheel should be, some lifts are there. If lifts have enough space are there, so patient can turn the wheelchairs in very nicely. So again, before going for any barriers, to comment on barriers, which kind of barriers, which kind of suggestions are there, why this barriers is restricting the patients, and what the problems is there with the patient. First we have to find out and what the patient has a problem with himself, because barriers are the it is a normal thing to change the barriers. We have to ask some authorities and they will change the barriers. If we are talking about the outside home, we can change it. Sometimes it might be applicable for someone it is not applicable, so patient has to adjust. So we have to find why patient is not able to do it, and first if we will able to do rectify it with that things, then we have to rectify, and then if it is not possible, we have to try to make the barrier accessible for the patient.
In group therapy for spinal cord injury, what all treatments can be included, and how do you go about with the group therapy?
In group therapy, we are going for the as a one rolling hair technique has been shown by this Nihal, and we are going for the ball passing for them. We are going for some activities. Some paraplegics are there. The volleyball is a good things. They can play volleyball very nicely. We have good examples of that things. We can also encourage some sports activities like a wheelchair race are there. Some other activities are there. They can go for the some wheelchair skills. We can encourage in it. So in this way, sports will be the encourage them. It will give them a more enthusiasm and more confidence to them.
So sometimes we have patients from the rural area, so they are living in confined small houses. So what modifications they can do for a standing training and gait training within their house in confined?
Sometimes it's happening because we are getting mainly patients from the rural area. They are asking such kind of questions. So you are saying that where you are saying that you have a full trek is that we can walk for a 150 meters without break. Such kind of patients are finding main difficulty with the turning. because when you am going for the gait training of any patients, they are finding main difficulty with the gait turning. If they are able to turn themselves, then they can do it very nicely. So when you are giving a gait training to the patients, now we have to means straight walking we are teaching to the patients is very nice and it's very good, but sometimes patient is not able to turn themselves very nicely. So we have to again put a focus for the gait training turning of the patients, and we can ask the patient, okay, you don't have a too much space, okay, you can go for a short distances, you can turn again, you can come, in that way you can go ahead.
You had explained about spinal cord injury patients riding their modified two-wheeler or four-wheeler. What are the modifications that are to be done, and how can a patient go about doing it? Say, if we have a patient, how do we guide them to get it done?
Some modifications, some centers are there. They are going for the modifications. I think in Bombay, Haji Ali is there, and Gujarat, one setup is situated. Some special modifications. If two wheelers are there, they can go for the side wheels. They can do it very nicely. But yes, I am requesting every spinal cord injury patient and even also the therapist. When you are asking the patient, you can drive a wheelchair or such kind of things. Please tell them they will go for the valid licenses first of all, and they will also go for their vehicle registrations. And in Haji Ali, they can go for some modifications. They can advise it. Some Roger kits are available. And whatever I have shown you, the last one, this has been modified by my patients only, because he's not able to spend much money on modifications. It's some specialized kit, so he has modified by himself. So local authorities can help you very easily. Some good engineers, because Indian brain says nobody can touch the Indian brains. So many persons are available. They can do very nicely for us, means with a low cost, and which will be helpful for the rural people as well as the poor people.
We'll take one last question. Any specific diet or supplementary nutrition needs to be advised for a patient for whom you're training mobility for?
As frankly speaking, I haven't means our dietitians are there, which means they are regularly once in a month, or sometimes once in a 2 months, 3 months. They are regularly visiting over here. They will plan some things, but specific related to the mobility, nobody has advised there, because in a spinal cord injury patients, they are very much fit and fine related with the other activities. They do not have any problems. Yes, one thing is that their needs, whatever they are eating, it should be good in calories, so they can go for some exercises and they can practice that exercise very nicely, because it has been decided by the dietitians. I do not have much idea about it.
Thank you, sir. It was a great
Thank
session,
you.
and it was a very, very informative and a very practical scenario which each of our patients are facing on daily basis. So it was a great session for each one of us. Firstly, I would like to thank our IP technical team for the support continuously provided to each one of us. Thank you all the participants for bearing with us for few technical issues that we have been facing. Thanks a lot to Dr. Ruchi Vashne and Dr. Sanjeev Jha and Maharashtra State team for organizing the SCI webinar series. Thank you one and all. And it's a request to please fill up the feedback forms. And if any doubts or questions, you all can put up in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
From the IAB technical team side, I'm Dr. Smarnika. I would like to thank the speaker as well as all the attendees. And I request all of you to subscribe the YouTube channel of IAP. So this will help in spreading the awareness regarding all the webinars that we are conducting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smanika.